Now let's talk about using the phones. The Samsung Intercept comes pre-installed with Android 2.1, and the people at Virgin Mobile have claimed that it's going to be upgraded to 2.2 Froyo. In the near future, though, as of February 2011, that hasn't happened yet. The Optimus does come with Android 2.2 Froyo pre-installed, and so you immediately get all of the extra features that are included with that newer version of the operating system. In terms of performance, on paper, it looks like the Optimus may be slower because its main processor only runs at a 600 MHz clock speed rather than 800 MHz as with the Intercept. But I found in terms of real-world usage, the Optimus is much faster and much more responsive. And this may be because it has a newer type of processor that can do more for each clock cycle, work more efficiently, and also because it has a hardware GPU, graphics processing unit, that it can use to offload some of the graphics-intensive work. The increased responsiveness of the new phone is most noticeable when you try to go to the home screen. On the Intercept, I've had a problem where if you tap the home button, occasionally it doesn't respond. And because it's a soft button and not a physical hardware button, you sometimes don't even know if you've hit the key properly. So I find myself tapping the button 5 or 6 times before it finally gets to the home screen. This may take 5 seconds in the worst case, and occasionally it even brings up the recently used applications window rather than the home screen, and you have to back out of that to get home. So it's a small annoyance, but it does get frustrating when you run into this a few times every day. And other people have reported the same problem with the Intercept, so it does seem to be a fundamental problem with the phone. With the Optimus, I've never had any problem like that because you do have the hardware buttons which tell you immediately through tactile feedback if you've hit the button or not. And it seems to be so responsive, it never lags behind, and always goes to the home screen immediately. Let's try running the software. So we'll load the browsers here. I'll tap on each one at the same time. They do have accelerometers built in, so you can view web pages and other applications either in portrait or landscape mode. And now let's try loading a web page. So we'll bring up the menu screen and go to my bookmarks, and let's start by going to ESPN. You can see that the Optimus finished rendering before the Intercept had even started rendering, and I've done this over and over again. This does seem to be a pretty standard result. The Optimus is much faster at loading and rendering web pages. Let's try another one. This time we'll load AccuWeather. And once again, the Optimus easily beats the Intercept. Now let's load a more complicated page, something like Slashdot. The Optimus has started displaying and is finished. The Intercept is still working, loading those ads and sidebars. These are both on Wi-Fi, by the way. Still rendering and finished. Now, another big place where you notice the increased responsiveness of the Optimus is when you use the pinch to zoom feature. We'll just do that here, and it's very smooth and it responds immediately. You get good feedback on your action. On the Intercept, occasionally you'll start pinching and it won't respond for a few seconds. And even when it does, you can tell it's just a little bit jerkier, it doesn't quite respond to my actions as quickly. We'll take a look at scrolling too. If we zoom all the way out and just kind of scroll down these web pages, you can see the difference in how smooth these are. That GPU in the Optimus really helps out here. Okay. Now let's do a quick speed test to show how fast the two phones are in terms of networking. So we'll do one and then the other so that they're not competing for the same Wi-Fi link. We'll run the, whichever one shows up first, the Intercept. Begin test. Okay, so it's going at about 8 megabits per second download, a little over 1 megabit per second upload on the Optimus. A little over 7 megabits. And almost 3 megabits in upload. Now, I've run this test over and over, and this is actually an unusual result. Usually the Samsung is quite a bit slower than the Optimus. This may just be a temporary glitch in the network, but you can see that for the most part, the phones are at least comparable in terms of Wi-Fi speed. What's more important, I think, is rendering speed, especially in that browser. Now let's try, just for fun, checking 3G speed. So we'll turn off Wi-Fi. Unfortunately, I don't have 3G on the Intercept right now, so I can't show you that, but we can at least get an idea of how the Optimus performs. Alright, about 1.3 megabits download. And just under 600 kilobits per second upload speed, so pretty good. The Optimus does have EVDO Rev A in comparison with Samsung's EVDO Rev 0, so this does have somewhat faster capability in terms of 3G speed.